Hey, Bill here with 30 Minute Wood Shop. Thanks for joining. So, I always like these guys who have absolutely pristine shops. The tools are hanging, beautifully done cabinets, all the wood's arranged in order. My shop is a disaster, consistently, continually, and always. I keep trying, but I'm working on this tool cabinet back here by fits and starts. I'm getting there slow but sure. But I have a couple things laying around on the floor. I have a couple of milk crates of turning stock, like 3 milk crates of turning stock. I have some turning stock laying around other places. I have some long pieces, short pieces, scrap wood. That's really not scrap wood, because if you've seen some of my projects, I use scrap fairly frequently for these 30-minute projects. So I also have a couple of propane tanks, all right, that I'm usually walking around, kicking, tripping on. So I like to get all that stuff into one location where I can actually, find stuff and be able to use stuff and be able to get it off my floor so I can move it around. So I'm going to make a mobile cart for this. Basically, it's 6 foot high, 2 foot wide, and about 20 inches long. And that'll suffice to carry the propane tanks, all the wood I have, give me some adjustable shelves, and it should be pretty good. Now, like always, if you want to make this project, all right, there's a dimension sketch down here, right? Just go to 30minutewoodshop.com. You can find it there. Download that, take a look, or whatever. And you'll be able to duplicate this if you want to. Or use it, I'd say this, don't duplicate it. You make it so that it's something that works for you, whatever that might be. So you may make it a little longer, a little wider, a little narrower, whatever it is. But make it so it's useful for yourself, okay? Also down there, if you go to the bottom, you'll find here where it says more, click more, you'll find things like tools and things that I use. Go ahead and click on those, explore them. You might find something interesting there. See what there is, some of the materials that I use or hardware and stuff. So yeah, give those a shot, and let's start talking materials. All right, materials for this project are pretty straightforward. It's 2x4s, okay? Easy to do, 2x4s, plywood for the shelving, 2x4s for the uprights and the cross pieces and whatnot. What I'm using today, however, is not actually 2x4s. Well, they were 2x4s. This is some leftover material I had from another project. And I cut these down to about 1.5 inches thick and about 3 inches wide. Not a lot, but it does a couple things. It gets rid of the roll on the edges, all right, and it makes it a little bit lighter. And quite frankly, that's kind of what I was looking for. I didn't want some big, heavy piece. All right. I like things that are more elegant. All right. So this is a little bit more elegant look. I know it's a piece of shop furniture, bang it together. But I kind of like that. All right. Now, here's a couple of problems with this. I'm going to be doing a lot of butt joints here. All right, and butt joints traditionally suck. They're not very strong, okay? When you start taking this end grain and you butt it up against a piece like that, okay, that's not a strong joint at all. So we're gonna do a couple things on this. We're gonna actually do biscuits, okay? I'm gonna put biscuits in here, and I'm also gonna throw in some pocket screws, all right? And the reason I'm doing biscuits and pocket screws, that just means the pocket screws clamp and I don't have to worry about it. So by the time I have it glued, biscuit joined, and pocket screws, it'll be pretty much a monolithic joint right here. Okay? So what I've got, basically I'm going to take these uprights and put the piece in like that on the sides. On the edges, I'll put it like that. Super easy to do. Now all I have to do, these are already chopped off at 6 foot. Again, stuff I have left over. These are kind of miscellaneous sizes. I think I have enough. I got to check. I may not, but we should have enough of the right size wood here. So let's start doing some cutting on making these things the right dimensions. Okay? Over to the saw. All right, as always, be sure you read and follow all the safety directions with any tool you use, power or otherwise, because you can get seriously injured. So, power tools, safety glasses, hearing protection, those kind of things. If you need push sticks, be sure you use them. What I'm using here is a radial arm saw. I think they kind of have a bad rap. There's certain things you can do with them, some you can't. but they're great for doing cross-cutting and those kind of things. Though I will say sliding compound miter saws have pretty much replaced these. I've not invested in one of those. I do have a chop saw that I use frequently, but this one does the bulk of what I need. Let's start cutting. So all I've done here is mark these, make sure the back ends are even, and then I'm just going to do a quick cross cut. What that does for me, it makes sure that I have two pieces that are absolutely identical. So let's start cutting. Okay, so I mentioned that I'd be doing this with Craig jig and put some pocket screws in here. I have my Craig jig set up for this 1.5 inches. Now, always do a test piece just in case. So that's nice and solid. We'll give this a quick shot. Why don't you come on in here and I'll show you what I'm doing. Okay, like I said, I got this thing set up. Pinches this really nice. Now, pocket screws are nothing new. All Craig did is make it much easier than, say, my old. This is my old system of doing it. So Craig just made it far easier. I clamps it in, locks it in, ready to rock. So let's put a couple test holes in here and see how it goes. And there we go. It didn't poke through the bottom, which is really important because I've done that once or twice here and put holes in my jig. If I didn't adjust the bit to the right depth. Occasionally I lend this out and people change things and then I don't go back and check it. Anyway, so these are looking pretty good. I'm going to start doing all the rest of my parts. And when I get all those done, we'll move on to putting in the biscuits. All right, I've had this biscuit joint for quite some time. Porter cable, I love this thing. I don't use it every day, but I use it pretty frequently, and it's great for making joints that are butt joints or any kind of tenon joint that I want to have where I don't want to have to cut a tenon. It works really well. So as I said, these are all butt joints. Now I have this all set up. Here's my test piece. Always do a test piece, guys. I have it marked out just to make sure that I think it's going to go where I think it's going to go. So let's give it a shot. Now, one thing I've done is I set it up so that you can see here's my pocket screws. So I'm offsetting it to the other side. We'll line it up, hold it down, and there we go. That worked out really well. So now I got to put it in the ends of all these, then I got to take it over and transfer those to the uprights. So let's start working. Ready to go back to using the biscuit joiner. So what I've done here in all these uprights, these verticals, is I've marked out where I want my pieces to be, all right? So what I want to do is I want this thing to butt joint here, and I want to use a biscuit, okay? Slide the biscuit in, pop it down, and what I specifically want is I want the fasteners to be hidden. So I want them to be inside, all right? Now, I've got this all set up. I'm going to use the biscuit joiner. I'm going to throw in a biscuit for each one of these joints on every one. Now, be careful if you're doing this because these are handed parts. All right? If you do them all on the same side, it probably won't work out for you. So just be aware that you have a left hand and a right hand side whenever you're making these. All right? Now, I'll say this at this point. This is a little complex. It's great when you have a lot of tools because you have a lot of options. And I'm choosing some options here that you may not have available to you. I'm going to give you in my blog, if you go to the bottom, hit 30minutewoodshop.com. All right, what you'll be able to find there is not only the one that I'm building here, but also an easier one that's just going to be basically lap joint 2x4 construction. That'll work out for you. It's a lot easier and faster than what I'm doing here. But I want a certain look, all right? I have the tools, I have the capability, so I'm going with that. But you can do something a little bit different, all right? So let's start making some noise. All right, so I've got half of my biscuit slots created. Now what I need to do, you can see what's going to happen here, pretty straightforward. Great little test block, by the way. Jumps in like this. So the next thing I want to do is I need to put a piece that's going to be here. All right. Now, got to go through and mark all these so that I know where to actually put the biscuits. And I'm going to use this little test piece here that I have. It's about a 3-inch by about a 4-inch piece that I cut. Always cut several test pieces so you can make sure you get everything lined up properly. What I'm going to do is basically I'm going to set this right here, mark it off, all right, so I know where my parts are going to go. Mark all the rest of these, and then I'll start cutting some biscuits. Everything's already prepped for assembly. Got all the pocket holes in. Got all the biscuit slots in, so we're ready to start working on that. Let's get busy. And the biscuits are fully wet. You can see that. I don't need to have one of those fancy little glue bottles. I mean, they're okay, I suppose, but put some glue in the hole. You're 99.999% wetted up, so we're pretty good. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and start gluing up everything else. Okay, have everything glued up. Now let's throw in some screws. Now these are just coarse pocket screws. And there we go. We'll finish this up, go to the rest of it, and then cut some plywood when we get this thing framed up properly. So those parts of the frame done. Next thing we're going to do here is we're going to actually install these cross members. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually put all these cross members in place, clamp them down, glue them, screw them, and then I'll put the next piece on top of this. It seems like that's going to be about the easiest way for me to do this. So let's get busy doing that. So I have it assembled. Now what I've done is I put in a couple of corner brackets. These are just 45s that I chopped off and glued and nailed in. The reason I did that is this. I'm putting on these casters, and I wanted to make sure there's this touchdown spot for this last screw down here. Otherwise, it's hanging out in the air. So put this in primarily to support the caster. And I've done some pre-drilling here, so I'm going to start putting these casters in. Okay, got them all trimmed up, fitted, knocked in. They're pretty tight. I still want to do the nail in the upper portion. So let's do that. Okay, the project is done. Well, not totally done because I still need to cut 2 more shelves here, but I got to run out and get some more plywood. So it's worked out really well. I've got 3 milk crates worth of turnings up here, turning things. And then I still have 2 to 3 more milk crates that I got to get in here. So 2 more shelves ought to do it. We'll run out and get those and cut them up. But as you can see, I got room for my my LP gas cans. I got room for my turning stock. I'll put some more turning stock here. I'll probably even have some space left over. So I'm really happy how this turned out. Folks, like I said, as always, if you're interested in getting a dimension sketch, go down here to 30minutewoodshop.com. Check that out. You can also hit more. There'll be a link down there. There's also links to things I use and materials, those kind of things. Check those out, explore, and you might find something interesting. And hey, hope you got something out of this. And if you did, do me a favor, hit like and subscribe. And I'll see you next time.